Documentary trade hasn't evolved a great deal since its inception by the Lombards in the Middle Ages. Trades were based on exchanges of paper documents, which represented goods. And what has changed since the Middle Ages? Essentially, the hairstyles. Today, letters of credit are still paper-based. Here is what happens when 1 ton of copper is traded. Once the exporter receives the bill of lading, he adds the invoice and related certificates and takes them to his bank. There, documents are checked, approved and sent to the bank of the buyer. The buyer's bank checks and approves them again before paying for the goods on behalf of the buyer. At each stage, precious time passes by and documents can be lost or forged. What if we could introduce a real change? What if we could make trading faster, more secure and cost-efficient? It is essential to digitalize and standardize, but this needs all players to be on board, which has proven too hard up to today. Now, blockchain has the potential to make this possible. Top commodity finance banks, Société Générale and ING, have teamed up to address some of these challenges and are currently developing a prototype for an industry platform. Mercurio and other parties have joined the initiative and are bringing trades and their operational expertise for real-life testing. Let us show you what this looks like in practice. This prototype removes paper from the transaction. The result is a fully digitalized workflow with all parties sharing information in real time and recording undertakings and title on the blockchain, improving efficiency at every step. Here is what it looks like for a tanker of crude oil sold from Africa to a buyer in China. Every user can securely log into the platform and sign relevant binding agreements or documents without manual signatures. The buyer creates the draft of a smart contract and sends it to the banks and the seller for approval. The issuing bank validates the smart contract, thereby creating a binding payment undertaking to the seller. The seller appoints the different third parties responsible for the issuance of documents. They receive a direct notification through the platform. The shipping agent creates an electronic representation of the bill of lading. In the meantime, the inspector certifies the quantity and the quality of the product directly on the platform. The seller receives all the documents in an electronic form instantaneously. The platform generates the invoice and automatically verifies that all documents are in compliance with the wording of the smart contract. The seller can then simply present them to the bank with one click. All that is left is for the bank to confirm the result of the automatic check. No more hours wasted inspecting everything in the documents. If all the information provided matches the conditions required in the smart contract, the title of the goods passes from the seller to the buyer and a payment undertaking is given. The buyer can reuse the documents immediately to unsell the goods to another party, and so on. No need to re-enter data, no paper, no couriers. Just trust by design, all in real time.
The platform makes the whole checking and the communication between the parties very fast.
Real-time access is the way forward. We're in the 21st century. We need to have access to our data housed in one centralized place and have access to it when we want it and where we want it. This creates much more flexible platform for us to gather that information rather than relying on email folders and Outlook folders.
Teams can focus on the essence and the content of the transactions. Wording, typos, formats are not an issue anymore.
The user experience is brilliant with this platform. The access to real-time data, to all your documents housed in one place, and to have access to the key details of the transaction in one ecosystem is clearly a favorable user experience.
Testing the theory behind blockchain is one thing, but the real challenge will be to create a scalable and legally compliant platform that importers and exporters want to use.
What you have seen are the first steps toward a new era of financing commodity trade. The platform holds great promise for this $15 trillion industry. With the help and participation of more parties, we'll be able to realize our goals even faster. Come and join us.